David Robertson has to come back to the New York Mets. The Mets have to sign David Robertson back to the New York Mets and put him in that bullpen. Definitely, this is All Things Mets. This is where you get your latest Mets media, everything you don't know about the Mets on this channel. So definitely leave a like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoy Mets content and baseball content in general. And today's topic is going to be about David Robertson and the New York Mets. Should they have a reunion? Should the Mets get back David Robertson? Now, David Robertson was an amazing closer for the New York Mets in 2023. He did everything that he needed to do for the team, and he was their best reliever, hands down. You know, going into spring training, we knew that Edwin Diaz was going to be a big-time, closer. But David Robertson, when he was signed, he was supposed to be the setup man for Edwin Diaz. And obviously, with the big injury with Edwin Diaz in WBC, David Robertson had to step up, and he stepped up greatly. He did a great job with the New York Mets, had an ERA of 2.05, and that is really, really good for him. A guy that's 38 years old, almost was thinking about, retiring. This guy definitely has something still in the tank, and he can get major league outs. He was a really, really good reliever for the New York Mets, and he was awful for the Miami Marlins. When the Mets, noticed that there was not going to be competitive, going forward in 2023, it didn't look like they were going to be competitive. They sold David Robertson. David Robertson was the first big trade the New York Mets made to basically say they're going to be sellers at the deadline. And they sold, and they got some prospects back, some really good prospects, from the Miami Marlins, but some young kids. And he had an awful time with the Miami Marlins. And the Miami Marlins was in it. They made a trade for him. And the Miami Marlins, in my opinion, he was just used. David Robertson was just used way too much. They relied way too much on David Robertson. They put him out there almost every day. They abused him out there. And that's why I think he had an ERA of 4.46. Yes, he had an ERA of 4.46 compared to 0.5 with the New York Mets. That is a big, big difference. So David Robertson, guys, he's 38 years old, but he can still get major league outs. He can still get guys out. So he is a really good reliever. And why not bring him back? The Mets need help in the bullpen. And imagine if they can sign back a David Robertson. He's 38 years old, but he still has something in the tank. He can still get really good out, get major league outs, and be a really good reliever for the New York Mets. And with the bullpen, we don't know exactly what the role is going to be of Drew Smith. Other guys like Ottavino, we don't know exactly what's going to happen. We don't know who they're going to sign in the offseason. But David Robertson should be, to be honest, a lock. They should go right after David Robertson. And because he was really, really good for them, and he's still a really good reliever. He has a really good cutter. He throws a fastball that's good as well. And man, he was really, really good for the New York Mets. So why not bring back a good reliever? So I know that they traded him away, and maybe David Robertson doesn't want to come back to the New York Mets, or maybe he does, but it was just business. The Mets made a trade because obviously they weren't in good position and they were going to be sellers at the deadline. So if David Robertson could come back to the Mets and they could have a reunion with him, and he could be the 8th inning guy, or the 7th inning guy if they sign like a Josh Hader or something, and Edwin Diaz could be the closer going into 2024. That looks like a really good bullpen. And you need a good bullpen. The Mets need a good bullpen. You need it as a baseball team. You need the bullpen to be great. Definitely, if you want to make the World Series, you need the bullpen to be really, really good. And you need to have those pieces, okay? But if you want success, you got to have a good major league bullpen. That's just in general. That's just baseball etiquette. So David Robertson should be a lock for the New York Mets. And I definitely think he should sign back with the New York Mets. Obviously Edwin Diaz coming back, next year, 2024. And, you got David Robertson and you got Edwin Diaz. And, you know, you don't know what's going to happen with Edwin Diaz. You don't know what he's going to be. So I think David Robertson should be a lock for this team. Let me know what you guys think about David Robertson. Do you guys think that he should be, you know, coming back to the New York Mets? Did you like David Robertson when you saw him? You know, do you think that he's washed out? Do you think that he's too old? Me personally, he is 38 years old, but he did his thing in 2023. He had a really good season for the New York Mets, and the Miami Marlins used him way too much when they got him. And obviously they needed him, but they used him way too much. And the Mets were careful with the way they used David Robertson. They didn't use David Robertson every single day. So I think if you bring back a David Robertson, you got to be careful with the way you use him. You can't use him every single day. Definitely, he can go back-to-back days, but you can't use him every single day like the Miami Marlins did. So compared to the 4.46 ERA that Dave Robertson had with the Miami Marlins, and compared to the 2.05 ERA that Dave Robertson had with the Mets, that is a big difference. So if the Mets are smart with Dave Robertson going into next year and they sign him, they got to be smart, obviously, the way they use him, but I think he should be definitely picked up in the offseason. He should be a lock, in my opinion. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and just keep coming back to the channel. Definitely, this is where you get your latest Mets media. Everything you know about the Mets on this channel. And yeah, man, I love you guys so much. I appreciate you guys so much. And LFGM for life, baby. Stay blessed.